I mean, based on what was going on in that era. But now what had happened is that you took the information in terms of the street knowledge and violence and things that you was doing back then, and then you turn around and took the heads away. You went through the years.
Man, I was just thinking about this. But
in the 70s and 80s, in the 70s and 80s, a lot of people was going to jail. The average sentence might have been from 20 to 30 years.
Right.
And a lot of people just getting out, you mean,
just
recently,
now. Right.
you mean, from that era. So they was taking the heads of the information in them communities away and letting the young people fend for themselves. You mean, me growing up, you had stair steps.
Right.
You mean, where somebody was always there to tell you what you're doing
Man,
right or wrong.
I'm so glad you're saying this, man.
And when today you don't have that. Today you just going to 0 to 1,000, and you calling the shots because it wasn't no over there. He is there for you.
Right. See, and that's kind of that. Like I kind of like I can't help it. Ever since I was a child, I looked at things kind of like in a historical context, like just everything in a historical context. And just being now, like I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 40s right now. So I was a child in the 80s. I was a little child in the 80s. I was in my formative years in the 90s, and I'm an adult in the 2000s. Okay. And just one thing I saw the whole time is like I can't think past the early 80s. But just one thing I remember before, kind of like that crack came in, that you had to be involved to get involved. It wasn't a thing to where as though the average person can go and, just because I got $2,500, I can go get this, go out somewhere.
That's true. You couldn't do
go out somewhere and do that. Like you had to be actually connected. And kind of what happened in that crack era, crack was like weed. When I say you know what I mean when I say crack is like weed. You can go to anybody, go get it. And I'm gonna be my own little kingpin. And that just put a whole lot of people in the game that wasn't for them. They wasn't born into it. A lot of them didn't even need to be there. You had schoolboys. That 2-parent household. He just want to be a dope boy. And that. Those kind of people, in my eyes, I could be completely wrong. Those kind of people put too much more mess in the game. The game, that stuff is messy enough as it is, but then when you put those kind of people in there, it kind of sours the game, and that's what happened in the 90s.
The way the game is too attractive to people. And like you say, the poverty, we don't have nothing.
Right.
So it's like it's making people reach.
Right.
The stuff that they have no reach for. It's just it's nothing else they can turn to. Like right. I can remember when I was young, the older guys that was hustling or doing whatever, they was putting us in check.
Right.
They was telling us, no, stay away here, take this basketball, whatever the case is. You know what I mean? It was like, you too young, you too little, stay away from this. This not for you. This is what I was getting from them.
Right.
Now it's like.
Kids
it's coming out the house.
It's anarchy.
Yes,
it's anarchy. That's kind of what it is.
Involved, kind of.
But before we get, because this at this point, I'm talking about in 2020. Like Mr. King, he's been away. You know what I mean? So as far as like when his major effect, you know what I mean, was more with people on a he had more reaching. Once again, I'm just assuming.
Yeah, that's all you doing.
You were able, right? I'm gonna say I'm assuming. That's why, and I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong when I assume. That's part of the reason why you here. I'm assuming your major reach was more the younger guys on the other side of the wall. You were able to kind of reach more of them than guys on the outside while during this long stretch while you were away. Is it safe to assume?